Hey everyone, it's good to see you back. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into one of the most fun and devastating Warlock builds in Destiny 2 as of now, the Prismatic Ager Scepter and Mantle of Battle Harmony build. This setup is an absolute powerhouse, combining the icy devastation of Ager's Scepter with the raw damage boost from Mantle of Battle Harmony. With increased super and damage over time, this build actually performs better than the stasis one we did a while back, if you remember. Don't believe me? Let's find out. Let's start with exotic armor, Mantle of Battle Harmony, with his exotic effect, Absorption Cell. It states, a final blows with weapons matching your equipped super damage type grant you super energy. When your super energy is full, you instead gain a temporary bonus to weapon damage of the type. This exotic will drastically increase how much super energy we get over kills you get. This can vary from 1.5% from minor kills to 2.5% against elites and higher. Combining this with our chosen super will assure us a much faster super gain without additional items added, which is handy when paired up with something like Power Preservation mod, as we can make tons of orbs of power for our allies on a higher basis. Now, using this with a trace rifle such as Ager's is when my build can adapt and wholly regain its super energy build up much faster because of the consistent DPS coming from us. Combine the fast super regen and the ×4 surge buff for stasis weapons, and ultimately you get a build that is fantastic once amplified. Our second exotic is the Ager Scepter with its exotic effect, Ager's Call, which states, a final blows with his weapon generates a slowing burst around the defeated target. Ager's provides a unique and powerful interaction when paired with Mantle of Battle Harmony. The ability to garner a ×4 buff once our super is available will allow our weapon to kill much faster compared to its base form. This means we can spread our surge mods in the build freely, as we don't need to add anything further to stasis wide. On top of that, activating Ager's alternative mode will not only enhance our damage further, but we can use this to apply a quick slow and freeze in a short burst if things get bad. As mentioned with Mantle of Battle Harmony and super regen rate with the roaming super buff, with these available and how much they get back, we can use this however we like with little to no disadvantages. I have also found that adding the Brain Freeze seasonal mod is also helpful with triggering slow on a wider scale with a weapon. I've noticed that combining this with Awakening Fragment, and we can get a ton of shards back, and then we can use that back into our melee to have tons of arcane needles at our disposal. For the aspects of Fragments, we then have the following. We have Feed the Void, where defeating a target with an ability will grant you Devour. Oblique Watcher, where charging and casting a grenade produces a stasis turret that will actively slow and freeze targets. A Facile Devotion, where defeating targets inflicted by strand or stasis debuffs grants us bonus light transcendence energy. A Facile Command, where freezing or suppressing a target will reload your equipped weapons and increase weapon stability, aim assist, and airborne effectiveness. A Facile Awakening, where defeating targets with light or dark damage will generate an elemental pickup corresponding with them. A Facile Balance, where rapidly defeating targets with light abilities grants melee energy. Rapidly defeating targets with dark abilities grants grenade energy. And a Facile Ruin, which increases the blast radius of ignitions, shatter, and frozen targets after kills. The build follows in the near same footstep as my previous stasis version of this build, with a few exceptions. Most noticeable, we will be using Facile Ruin, Command, and Awakening to support these stasis ability effects as often as possible, while also relying on the high usage of stasis turrets when engaging fights. With how I set this up this time, we should be able to proc Awakening effect on a constant basis through Ager's freeze attack or stasis turret's effect. This will ultimately provide a constant source of stasis shards to regain a melee cooldown and also use arcane needles for additional progress. The most important part of the build will be Ager's and Mantle of Battle Harmony's usage once we get our super available. Now, with the roaming buff, we should be getting a ×3 to 4 super regen with the combo provided. This means we can get that ×4 surge buff for our stasis weapons easily, but also get a super back in record timing after first time use. This overall creates a passively strong build that will hit max super before anyone else does, but also getting additional benefits with little effort. As a note, I could see Facile Courage being added on if you swap one of your abilities around to a light attack. Although the debuff isn't large, it would make the build viable for even after the season ends. For the mods and stats, we have both Resilience and Discipline marked with the highest priorities for the build. Recovery and Strength is also being supported through additional pickup items. Resilience, we have ours at tier 10 for a 30% damage reduction. We have added the Concussive Dampener mod for the reduced AoE splash damage done to us. This can be replaced with Wind Chill seasonal mod and swapping a heavy for a stasis machine gun to trigger it more often if you wish, but that is optional. A discipline, we have Arthur at tier 10 for a 1 minute 1 second cooldown via storm grenades. Grenades types don't matter too much here, as they will be consumed by your stasis turrets. Personally, I will pick a grenade that has a secondary function so that you can rely on if you're in a pinch. A storm for me is good if you find a way to apply extra damage in the situation I'm in, and on top of that we also have Feed the Void on hand, so making a switch up between the two isn't too bad or costly. When it comes to the additional mods though, this is what I would recommend for buffing out your key stats and other additional things. Impact Induction times 1 for a 12% grenade buff, Momentum Transfer times 2 for a 12% melee buff, and Outreach for an additional 12% melee buff is what I would recommend you go for as well. Additional mods, we then have the following: Harmonic Siphon for creating also power via matching elemental weapon types, Heavy and Special Ammo Finder, Reserves and Scavenger mods for a heavy weapon, a Powerful Attraction where using your class ability will collect nearby orbs of power, and Time Dilation where armor charge decay rate is reduced. So as we have covered our exotic secondary weapon, I would then advise you to pick some super weapons for the build. What I recommend are all optional, so please keep this in mind. Our primary will be the Time Worn Wayfarer with 4 times the charm and Incandescent, a highly valued weapon that offers players precise damage over time and great flexibility with Incandescent applied. This is being paired up with Faster of Ruin, so we can make use of the Incandescent effect when they fully trigger in the build, and since it is quite easy to get, I would advise you to do the same. Now, if this isn't your thing, then choose a solo weapon that still incorporates the use of Incandescent overall, as you do want to make use of that one fragment here and there. For heavy, we have Crime Mutiny with Incandescent and a Vorpal weapon. I believe you cannot get this weapon anymore sadly, which is a shame as it does fairly well in endgame and with concussive reload attached. Personally, the Spelugis machine gun is a good alternative as it can get Incandescent and has a bigger magazine, but most importantly it comes with the Deconstruction perk, which is handy for long-term damage, and with something like this we have in hand with Mantle of Battle Harmony, I can see it benefiting us quite a lot. So many blue moons ago, we did a purely stasis version of the build with the introduction season. That version of the build was neatly presented to provide everything you would need from a purely stasis focused kit, from shatter, freeze, slow, force armor, fast ability regen, increased damage, and stasis shards, all of which has played a massive role with dealing with enemies in endgame. But when it comes down to Prismatic, it's a untouched area that I never really did until now. The Prismatic version offers us a few changes to the original build, with the most noticeable being aspects and fragments. As a stasis subclass can provide a more simpler approach to getting our buffs, the Prismatic variant incorporates additional items instead of just stasis. The Faster of Ruin, for example, increases our shatter damage, but also increases ignition blast from the build. In this case, I added 2 solo weapons that have Incandescent on them to make full use of the 2 sides available. I also added Awakening so we can get a consistent source of elemental pickups from our abilities. This is important as getting stasis shards will grant us melee energy towards our selected melee, which is Arcane Needles, and this alone is worth it when you get the 3 charges instead of 1. Looking at exotics, we have 2 combos that are both synergizing their effects for maximum usefulness. From gameplay, you can see how fast we get our super bathroom kills, and with the roaming buff included, it makes using Mantle of Battle Harmony even more better over long course and long periods. Comparing the 2 builds does show how effective one is compared to the other, with the full stasis kit offering a consistent freeze and slow tempo that can be paired up with the seasonal mods for even more usage over time. Prismatic version doesn't offer what stasis version does, but it does allow us to branch off and include items that our other subclass can't access. On top of that, the fast super and transcendent regen does increase our damage massively. Overall, the build is fitting for those who wish to use Prismatic for more flexible reasons, rather than sticking with a generic but more structured layout for endgame. So there we have it. I hope you all enjoyed the build breakdown. If you have any thoughts on the content shared, then please leave a comment below. Or if you enjoy the content and want more of these videos, then leave a like and a sub while you're here. A dim link for the build is located below in the pin section, and I do advise you to check out my playlist for more. It was great sharing today's video with you all, and I hope to see you again soon.